It's time to go wild now that we're halfway through the NBA's 2021 to 2022 season. It's not exactly Ja Morant rocketing himself into two 7-footers with bad intentions and only the faintest hint of a plan. It's irresponsible, but it's close. We're going to look down the possibility of failure and try not to blink because that's how this exercise is meant to work. The most of these should turn out to be incorrect, but the idea is to locate a smidgen of evidence that suggests that they might be correct. It's not good enough if the outcome is likely. These projections of the second half are only permissible and only just. So, let's be daring. Up first, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo will win the MVP award. Is it really that brave to predict that a 2-time MVP in his prime would win the award for a third time? The estimated margin of victory is the key to this prediction's rashness. I believe Giannis Antetokounmpo has a potential to totally demolish the field, possibly collecting MVP number 3 in unanimous matter. The competition is fierce, with Nikola Jokic leading the league in about every catch-all category imaginable, Steph Curry navigating the Golden State Warriors back into title contention, and KD stepping in for a high-profile Brooklyn Nets club. That's not a good setting for someone trying to dominate the field. And as of now, Antetokounmpo is just third in the betting odds behind Curry and Durant. To win outright, he'll have to outplay both of those players and move his Milwaukee Bucks team into an unrivaled top seed territory. This projection is even more ludicrous given the remaining schedule. Milwaukee has the easiest schedule in the NBA thus far, which means it's going to have to run the gauntlet in the second half. Nobody's schedule will be more challenging. If you take the optimist's point of view, which is required in the bold prediction game, that simply means Giannis and the Bucks have a chance to demonstrate their supremacy against the best, and that's how you build an MVP blowout. Antetokounmpo is also showing indications of improvement, which appears to be unfair. His assist and free throw rates have never been higher, indicating that he's using more deception and cleverness than ever before. The pace of the game is slowing. Because Antetokounmpo is playing a lot of center for the first time in his career and the Bucks are smashing everything in their path in those lineups, his defensive value is also higher than it has been in the past. Milwaukee is currently on the verge of losing home court advantage to the first round rather than winning it to the East top seed. And a trio of dynamite MVP prospects will not allow Giannis to walk away with the award. He and his squad are facing a seamlessly insurmountable uphill climb. Up next, we have Ja Morant coming in third place in MVP voting. Let's keep with the MVP theme and be even more daring this time, predicting in the voting for this season's top individual award. Ja Morant will finish ahead of at least 2 of Curry, Jokic, Durant, and Antetokounmpo. But for that to happen, more than one member of the illustrious quartet will have to slow down and or have his squad encounter a stumbling block. Curry's already obliging quietly. He's posting his lowest true shooting since 2012 to 2013, and he's on pace to hit less than 40% of his threes for the first time ever in his career. It's no surprise that Curry's slump has coincided with what Golden State coach Steve Kerr described as a rough patch in the team's schedule, with the Warriors losing to both Morant's Grizzlies and Antetokounmpo's Bucks 48 hours apart. Jokic's Nuggets will have to keep hovering around 500, which appears to be the case. However, putting Morant into the top 3 also assumes that DeRozan, James, Embiid, Mitchell, and a slew of other legitimate possibilities won't outperform him in the final stretch. Memphis will also have to maintain or improve its place as a top 3 Western team, which doesn't seem to be too difficult that it has the best record in the net rating and in the league over the last 2 months. It's early for the 22-year-old Morant to rise all the way to the top 3 in MVP voting, but he and the Grizzlies don't appear to mind. Up next, we have 2 more head coaches will be let go. We began the 2022 season with 8 new head coaches, including Nate McMillan, who took over Lloyd Pierce with the Atlanta Hawks midway through last season. We've also seen the Sacramento Kings fire Luke Walton, which implies that 1 in every 3 organizations has undergone top-level upheaval in the last year or so. With most teams now hiring entrenched head coaches they want to keep or new ones that they'll get some slack with, you'll think that some stability will be in the forecast. But that's not how the job works. Coaches are hired to be dismissed, and all it takes is a losing run or suddenly turned out locker room to get someone fired. If forced to be specific, the Los Angeles Lakers' Frank Vogel and Atlanta's McMillan appear to be the 2 most likely dismissal possibilities. Both coaches' teams have underperformed, but McMillan can't blame it on injuries or a poorly constructed squad. His Hawks advanced to the Eastern Finals last season, but they won't even be in contention for a play-in game if the tournament begins today. Vogel only won a ring 15 months ago, but LeBron James' presence adds pressure to any situation. McMillan has only been on the job for nearly half that time, Yet the Hawks renewed its contract immediately after the season concluded. Saying either of them will be out of the job before the conclusion of the season is a gamble on NBA owners' crazy reactive capriciousness. That appears to be a reasonable bet. Up next, we have Russell Westbrook will move into third place in all-time career turnovers. No player has attempted as many shots as Russell Westbrook this season, but we're not here to dwell on his most glaring flaw. We're here to tell you that with a little hard work, Russ can rise all the way to third place on the all-time turnover list. He's currently 5th on the list, and he just need to cough up the ball at a rate similar to his career average to pass John Stockton for 4th. He'll get there without a hitch if his 4.4 turnovers per game continue. It's also worth noting that Stockton's career assist-to-turnover ratio is 3.7 to 1, while Westbrook's is merely 2.1 to 1. These two are not from the same universe as facilitators. To pass Moses Malone's 4,264 turnovers and move into third place, Westbrook would need to average about 4.8 turnovers per game while playing all 39 of his team's remaining games. If Russ misses a night here or there, he may have to give up more than 5 giveaways a game to make up the difference. That's a tall assignment if you think that James of the Lakers would try to take the ball out of Russ's hands or trade him if his shooting difficulties continued and his carelessness with the ball rose at a rate required to move him up to the number 3 spot on the list. But the Lakers don't have many obvious trade choices or viable in-house replacements. They might be stuck with Westbrook logging a lot of minutes for the foreseeable future. Russ has eclipsed 4.8 turnovers per game 3 times in the last 6 seasons, including an all-time high of 5.4 in 2016. If James misses time and Westbrook's usage rate rises, he has potential to overtake Malone. Not that you want this kind of attention, but if Russ moves to third, the Lakers will have 2 of 3 all-time turnover kings. Up next, we have the Kings' playoff drought will end this year. For the most of the last 2 decades, betting on the Sacramento Kings' success was akin to putting money on fire. Their 15-year postseason absence is the league's longest, a decade longer than the Charlotte Hornets' second-place finish. Don't misinterpret this as a vote of confidence in Sacramento, a team that has previously lost its head coach and is led by De'Aaron Fox, whose promise of greatness appears to have faded. According to 538's playoff odds, the Kings have a 4% possibility of making it to the postseason. However, the West's bottom is shaky, really shaky. Despite having the league's 6th worst net rating, the Kings are tied for the final 2 of play-in positions with the Portland Trail Blazers. Following the great guard's abdominal surgery, the Blazers will be without him for at least 6 weeks. With CJ McCollum out of commission as he recovers from a collapsed lung, we should anticipate the tank to begin. The Clippers are now in 7th place in the Western Conference, and the league sources informed that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both potentially may be sidelined for the season. The Clippers have pondered viewing the season as a gap year, code for tanking. The Lakers have been up and down all season, and injury to LeBron James might spell disaster. The same can be said for Denver Nuggets and their reliance on Nikola Jokic. The other struggling mid-pack clubs in the West will have significant flaws, and in some situations, losing on purpose is an appealing option. That's exactly what the Kings need to quietly fail their way into the playoff picture. They'll still have to make it through the play-in round if they finish in the top 10 of the West, but if they're in good shape, they might not have such a difficult draw. I'm simply stating that there's a possibility. Up next, we have Donovan Mitchell will take home the scoring crown. KD is averaging a league-leading 29.7 points per game and is well on his way to finishing his 5th scoring title. Only LeBron James and Curry average more than 29 points per game, with Antetokounmpo, Trae Young, Joel Embiid, and Curry finishing in the top 6. If KD is going to face challenges for the scoring crown, it appears that one of those men will most likely give it to him. But nope, Donovan Mitchell will give Durant a run, and if we're being bold, will overtake him for the scoring crown. Mitchell would have to average roughly 34 points per game and play in all 39 of the Jazz's remaining games, all while Durant's point production remains stable or declines. With Kyrie Irving posted into play in the away games and Harden playing better than he did during the season's opening month, there's a good chance KD will scale back. Of course, there are more names on the list between Mitchell and Durant. Mitchell has grown a score in several ways this season, most notably by improving his finishing within the arc. All of those lovely sidesteps and slowdown scoops are being thrown at a faster rate than ever. Mitchell's mid-range shooting is at a career high and his rim efficiency is the 77th percentile among guards. The key to delivering on this projection will be an increase to the 3-point percentage and improved foul drawing. Mitchell's 3-point percentage is 34.6%, the lowest it's been since his freshman year. Well guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Tip Top Sports, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.